Hello, everybody. Welcome to Breaking Bad. Felina, which Alonso will explain. Alonso and Brett just had a conversation that I already don't understand. Ben Mankiewicz, John Mankiewicz, Alonso Duralde, Brett Erlich. John is a professional writer, currently working on season 2, House of Cards.
That's right.
So, so exactly the right kind of guy to have in these conversations of exquisite television.
Finally, an authority figure.
John has also worked on House, Miami Vice.
Did The Mentalist?
The Mentalist.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, so there you go. There's more, but anyway, seasoned veteran TV writer, and by the way, House of Cards season 2 coming in what, April? April.
Nice.
Okay, so what does Felina mean?
Okay, 3 things.
Okay.
1, as you pointed out, anagram of finale. As Brett was pointing out, Fe is iron, Li is lithium, and Na is sodium. So literally, it's blood, meth, and tears. And Felina is the girl in the Marty Robbins song El Paso, which is referenced several times in the episode. It's the one cassette that he had to listen to going all the way from New Hampshire to New Mexico. And that's a song about a guy who goes back to the woman he loves, even though he is a fugitive and the police will surely kill him when he gets there. And he does, in fact, die in her arms.
It's crazy.
So, yeah, so much going on here.
Right, I got the part about the anagram. I was on that shit. So okay, let's where do we begin? Let's just go with the first of all, Brett, satisfying finale.
Yes, and the reason I found it satisfying is it was a mixture of, the most recent finale that I watched was The Sopranos again. I did the whole Sopranos again, and that one was very, very dense reading. It felt like very dense reading. It felt like I had to pay attention to everything, and I knew I was missing stuff. And if I didn't pay the most attention possible, I would feel left out. This one, though, had plenty of that to look into, but on a base level, you just understood what we were doing, and we got what we needed.
You definitely, yes, we did. And Vince Gilligan said, and I watched, I guess you did too, Alonso, Talking Bad afterwards. He praised The Sopranos finale, but said that this was a show that needed to tie up. You know, I loved The Sopranos finale. I flat out thought it was just sensational. I didn't think it was confusing. I thought it was great. But I get we needed to know exactly what happened to Walt.
Yeah, I mean, you could have called this episode Jots and Tittles. I mean, every single thing gets, every line is crossed, and there's almost nothing that's left dangling, which
Huel.
Huel, and you know, is Brock going to be okay? You know, I mean, there's granted a few things, but for the most part, they really tie it all up, and it's okay. I thought it was well done. I would maybe almost say it's too satisfying. I think I prefer maybe not. I like the Sopranos ending too, and I don't think everything has to be that on the edge of, like whoop, but I think this one really felt like they were really kind of covering their bases aggressively, but they do it well. I mean, it all scanned, it all felt organic, and there were a couple of, again, Matt Seitz at Vulture doing a great job with these, talking about how in a way, the show really climaxes at Ozymandias. Yeah. That's the real ending of this show. And then the last 2 episodes were more kind of almost a postscript, sort of like when you're reading one of those Victorian novels and there's that epilogue where they kind of tell you what happens to everybody, and they tie it all up.
The scene in Return of the King where everyone's jumping in slow motion on the bed around Gandalf and Frodo. Yeah, that one.
This was because that Ozymandias is where we he was outed in every possible way, and we see where it's headed.
And his actions cause Hank's death.
Right. Those are the big things. Then the rest of it is sort of, but we know he has to die. That's why I think that it felt dotted. But keep in mind, I was kidding about Huel, but we don't really know what happens to Skyler. We don't really know what happens to Marie. We don't, so I think
it's not like 6 Feet Under where we get the full.
Right. We don't meet Marie's next husband. The taxi driver she meets at the dispatch office that she falls in love with.
The one thing that I felt was strange, and looking back on pretty much the entire B side of the season with Jesse, is Jesse's final face.
His exit.
His exit just felt like, I get it. I get that Jesse has that moment with Walt where he looks and the whole show, Walt had been making Jesse do something, and this was Jesse saying, now you need to do something yourself.
Right.
And that was his
in fact,
turn.
Not shooting him only because Walt said that's what he wanted.
Yes.
And that was it. That's all he needed to hear to not do it. You know?
Yeah, I get it, but the drive away, like...
And what was the scream of the sort of release and happiness about it, besides that he was just
If
getting out of there?
If you've been imprisoned for 2 months and forced to cook meth while being chained to the ceiling by people who killed
That
your
was my
girlfriend in
favorite
front
thing.
of you, you might be a little exultant when
He
escaping.
had to yank the thing every time because it was stuck. It
Oh
was
God,
so real.
the moment with the box, that killed me.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the great Jesse moments where he talks about building the box in wood shop and and then selling it for drugs. That flash of thinking about the box, I thought that was one of the great moments.
I thought the end, John, Jesse's scream. I thought it was. The scream seemed right. I thought very abruptly cut, clearly intentionally so, and then like it's done and that's it, and there's no more Jesse.
Yeah, I mean, as opposed to The Sopranos. I mean, I watched most of The Sopranos, but the finale, I heard people talk about, everyone at the bar had been in the show and had reasons to do it. It was like a finale constructed for the super fan. This Breaking Bad seemed like.
True.
I don't know that that's true.
Yeah,
either.
I don't think that's true.
And I think there's actually an interpretation of The Sopranos ending where basically, even if he doesn't get killed at that moment, the rest of his life is going to be him watching the door and wondering, is it going to be that guy? Is it going to be that guy? Is it going to be that guy?
It was a finale for the super fan because there's a bunch of things kind of put throughout, and yes, people from the members only jacket, like a lot of things from previous episodes are. The reason it's for the superfan is they're just kind of dropped in there and
they're
not
dropped
mentioned.
in, but it's not.
And even like the lyrics of the song matching up with what's happening. Small town girl, you see her lonely. Everything even to the lyric is set up to fit.
Yeah,
and it's a reference to like episodes earlier when they say how it's
come on,
like.
this episode opens with Marty Robbins talking about like I'll get a bullet in my head or whatever, and then ends with that Badfinger song about this is what my life is right to. Like I mean that's also pretty.
The music in Breaking Bad is like genius.
No, he's great at it. But I'm just saying, let's not say it's any less on the nose than what they were doing in the Sopranos finale.
It was a particularly on the nose song there at the
but
finale.
well chosen.
Yeah, for me on the Sopranos, I mean, I don't think. To me, I guess yes, there are interpretations. That's the only interpretation. That he is spending a life looking over his shoulder, right? And maybe it's today, or maybe it's never, maybe it's in 10 years. Story constructed as the writer? Was this?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I watched it late. I came into the series late and watched. I think it was the first show I binge watched, and couldn't get enough of it. It was so fantastic, the writing. And I had we talked about it, I had some fantasies about, wild endings. But this was just a very straight ahead, well-built payoff of the stuff you had to pay off. Walt had some self-awareness at the end, that he did it for him.
That was the that was the big moment line of
Skyler.
Because I felt, as I suspect other people did, when he said, "Just so you understand, I did." I was like, "Not again!" And she then says, "Not again." But then he does something amazing.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was. That was a great, wonderful, tender scene, wasn't it?
A lot of great details. There's something super depressing about Skyler's apartment, where she's sitting, the way that there's like a support beam, but also like the exposed standalone appliances that are just like, oh God, she doesn't even have like a counter around them.
And no one has chain smoked more. Yeah. She's just, it's an incredibly depressing life. She's got no money. She's got nothing.
Mm-hmm. And the look of release on her face when he finally says that to her.
Yeah.
Where she's like, that is what I needed to hear.
Right.
Anyway, the way that scene was built, which is she's on the phone and as soon as she hangs up that he's going to be there. But they drew it out.
I didn't know he was going to be right there.
And put him behind the post.
Yeah.
That was it.
And it's funny, guys, somebody, I think Matt Seitz again pointed out, there's two scenes where he's almost a ghostly presence, because there's that scene where we don't see him until she acknowledges him, and then he's standing in the Schwartz's house for a long time before anybody notices that he's there.
Yeah. What did we think of that episode, that little?
I thought that was really smart, because it is a smart way to get the money to the kids without them knowing, and you know, when again, it's all about the payoffs. In the last episode, you see them on Charlie Rose, and he sees them, and of course, everybody thinks, oh, the Ryson's for them. He's going to get revenge because he's so pissed at them for shitting on him and taking away his business opportunity. But no, what's going through his mind is they're going to give the money to my kids, and that's how it's going to look kosher. So I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, and any fantasy you have about the wild ending. Either what's going to happen in this last episode is he's going to do the right thing, or he's just unhinged. And it tells you very early on, but after a appropriate amount of suspenseful anticipation, that he is very hinged.
Yeah,
he will be that way for the rest of this show.
In a way, I think this episode maybe represents him getting to be Heisenberg and Walter White at the same time, in that he is devious and he comes up with these really crazy, that whole thing with the gun is such a Rube Goldberg kind of device, but at the same time he's doing it for the right reasons. I don't think I don't think the gun thing has anything to do with Jesse. I think that was just about, I'm going to kill the Nazis because they took my money. And the Jesse thing, finding out that he became prisoner, either it took him so by surprise he didn't know how to react, or it made him sort of retroactively forgive him some for ratting him out. I don't know.
It made him retroactively forgive him.
So much of it is him, that realization. It wasn't just divulging this information to Skyler. This was a realization he had himself, that I did it for me. He didn't know that until very recently, that he did it for himself. And that kind of absolves Jesse because he's the one. It was his decision. It wasn't really for the family. It was so he could feel very alive.
That's true.
Yeah, I think seeing Jesse in prison instantly brings up whatever those paternal instincts that he had to Jesse, okay, I guess I got you back. And I guess maybe we're even.
An entire life regretful for not, doing the whole gray matter thing and stepping up. He has no regrets because he did get his, his lap,
which he was able to caress.
Don't you think it was part of the plan that he was going to save Jesse?
I think it was part of the plan when he realized that Jesse was there. I think if Jesse had been his partner, then Jesse goes down in a hail of gunfire like everybody else. I think it's.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah, he jumped on.
Yeah, exactly. But I think when he went in, it was not about liberating Jesse. It was just about killing Nazis. Yeah. Do we think the Stevia thing was too?
Did anybody go back and look and see if you could see him?
If you could see him switch it?
I didn't, but I did notice that when she sits down and grabs it, it's the only one in the caddy. Yeah. So I don't know if maybe they all show us at the same table, or that I don't know how that worked. But
that's what I thought. It was.
Did he what?
He'd gotten there yesterday and put the.
Or earlier that morning or something.
He establishes in that scene that she's such a creature of habit. That the habit it isn't, you come here at 10 every day. It's you come here every day and you sit at the same table and you order the same thing.
Have they sat at the window before?
It's weird.
Were they in the two adjoining booths
That's
before?
Where they sat before, but this is where he met with her, I guess.
Oh, maybe, okay.
But I don't know. That didn't bother me because I presume he could have switched that stevia packet. As we know, she wanted more stevia.
Right.
So she was going to put however many stevia packets.
Stevia is a real thing?
Stevia is a real thing.
And
they're thrilled, I'm sure.
And all the commercials, a lot of people paid a lot of money to be featured positively in the Breaking Bad finale. Stevia kind of got screwed.
I wonder what this does for Stevia. Jimmy Kimmel asked that question on Talking Bad last night. What does this do for Stevia? Send it through the roof, or are people throwing out their Stevia packets at home? Did you think for any second that the ricin before this episode that it was for Lydia?
No, I thought it was.
It didn't occur to me. No, not at all. I didn't know who it was for, but I did not think it was for Lydia. Can she get to the hospital and save herself? Anybody know about ricin poisoning? If you now know, I presume one of the problems with ricin poisoning is being able to tell them it's ricin.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Now she at least has an advantage. She's not about
from the Brock episode. That was an issue. So
right. And so
and if she doesn't, there's another orphan. Her
that's
daughter.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe the daughter and Brock can get together.
Yeah.
Start a new meth lab.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, I thought because I thought the real sequel is not the Saul show. The real sequel is CSI Albuquerque, where the guys come in and clean up that crime scene, try to piece together what happens.
Yeah, there was a time when I'm like, okay, so he puts together a Gatling gun apparatus in his trunk. Nazis don't check a trunk, Nazis didn't check the trunk. They're just
how big the engine was.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, a lot of things could have gone wrong. I mean, it was that turned out that.
Hey, it's some crazy.
The Volvo
parking.
would not have worked.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. What wouldn't have worked?
The Volvo could not have put that.
No, could not have. Yeah, it didn't have.
Also, another detail that's pretty funny is don't need to open the trunk. All the bullet holes go right through the side of the car.
Yeah.
The trunk is just like.
Yeah.
Everybody see this thing you made?
Behold.
But the details in this show all the way along are just insanely great.
Like
the guitar next to the acoustic guitar next to Marie's shrink. You know, just that he's wearing that sweater, the sensitive guy, and he actually has a guitar next to him, and just so clueless.
Amazing thing that happened in this episode was after the guy on the massage chair is shot to death,
And he's still
the
getting
massage chair is
massaged.
still on,
Still, yeah.
and there's just this undulating body
That
in a
was-
sea of mostly dead things.
That was
There
pretty
was a
great.
little bit Batman villain with the Jack not killing Walt until he proves that Walt didn't. I'm not a liar. We're gonna bring Jesse out here. Like you can't just say Jesse is chained up in the back. He's our fucking slave. He's not our partner. Now I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Instead, right? So that, but I got it. But that felt like that was that for a brief moment was like, oh yeah, this is a TV show and they need to get everybody in the same
Bond
room.
villain has to explain his
Right,
plan.
exactly.
yeah?
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
So
I'm a man of honor.
yeah.
Don't look at my Nazi insignia, but I'm a man of honor.
No, I mean, so yeah, I mean, I don't want to come off like I'm poo-pooing this episode at all. I think it's very well done. If you're going to make the decision that you are going to indeed bring all this closure to it, then I think Gilligan did so in a very, effective way, in a powerful way. I'd say 6 Feet Under is probably still my favorite series finale of all time, but this is certainly like top 5.
We had that conversation before we did the football show this morning, and that was also the favorite finale. I did not recall 1 second of the 6 Feet Under finale, but reminded, I'm now like, oh yeah, that was great.
I cried the next day thinking about that finale. Yeah.
Shia song.
Greatest finale I've ever. I think this. I think well, first of all, I thought Lost was great, but I think The Sopranos was great, and I think this was outstanding. 6 Feet Under was great. Nothing to me beats the finale of a show that I don't know that any of you have seen.
Fugitive?
The Shield. Well, The Fugitive. The Shield, first of all, is a great show. But
I just finished reading Difficult Men. It's on my list now. Shows I gotta watch.
it's great, and the finale is just. They just do a great thing in the finale. So I think everybody should, who hasn't seen The Shield, it's worth watching.
I thought it was so elegant the way he sort of paid off Flynn. Walt, just seeing Flynn go into the
Going into the house, right? His car's gone, right?
It was beautiful.
He's taking the school bus, right?
Oh,
yeah.
right, I didn't catch that. Yes, of course,
The government has
seized
seized his
it,
car, fraught with drug money, so he's.
It was nice that he got to have that moment with Holly, which, of course, who will have no memory of him as she grows up.
That's right. Yeah.
I thought he was going to cook one more batch of meth.
I thought he was going to smoke it. I thought when he went down there, he was like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm bleeding out. I'm going to smoke some meth. Let's see what this is like. Yeah.
Right, yeah. I thought that was. I definitely.
Really?
I thought he was going to smoke it, and then I
Never
thought he's going to finally. He's going to blow the place up. He's going to die in a meth
I
inferno.
thought he was going to, he talks about how he felt the most alive doing this. I thought he was just going to make another, there's a little bit of methylamine left.
Right, but
start it going until he dies.
It's amazing. We all thought, I thought he was going to smoke, and then I thought, no, he's going to cook one last batch, and as a result of that, and then at the end, he's going to be like, great, what a Great last batch. I'll blow up with my meth, with my baby, right? Murder suicide, me and my lover, the meth lab.
So I think if Gilligan said he's with his precious, when he touches the big vat and stuff.
As a writer on a staff of a show, would you have talked us out of all those dumb endings?
Probably.
Yeah, too much, guys. Yeah, settle down. So where does this rank for you in the sort of
Pantheon
of the pantheon?
Well,
of
all the
American
way
television?
through the planning on this show, even the airplane crash, showing that stuff up front. I mean, it's much easier when I love these serialized shows, but they were really careful. Vince Gilligan, they did it right. And took sort of the extra care in writing to do these very delicate things, and set him up in the front, and, pay him off at the end, and over whole season arcs,
Wasn't the shot of him at the end is, I think, very similar to the first episode when he collapses. from cancer and is lying down. I think that I have not. You guys,
I'd have to go back and look.
You guys have all seen it. I watched it like a normal person. I didn't binge watch this show.
There are a couple of spinning shots coming up. There's one when he's being diagnosed, is him spinning and it goes up. And then there's another when he is losing it hysterically under the crawl space when she's giving away his money, where they slowly pull up and turn.
But didn't he collapse in the first one? Am I wrong?
In the first one, I don't remember, but I'm just saying that there are other things. That's kind of like a motif.
I think it will hold up enormously well to we've talked about this before, to a rewatch.
Yes.
Yeah,
I've rewatched it.
Yeah.
Not the whole.
Although funny you mentioned about details, one of the things that Gilligan said on Talking Bad last night was the reason he takes his watch off at the payphone was because they had already shot the diner scene and he doesn't have the watch on, and they had to make sure that it matched. So
everyone's like reading, I'm out of time.
No, time doesn't matter anymore.
Continuity.
Continuity. Need to lose the watch. Didn't want to read about it on Twitter.
Exactly.
Yeah, about how they screwed up.
That's fantastic.
That's really great.
It's hilarious.
And they made a shot out of it. The other cool thing he did, and then I mean, the cinematography on the show throughout.
Yes, definitely. I mean, they make Albuquerque a character basically, just from the deserts to just the sun-baked everything.
Although I've spent some time in Albuquerque, they not one scene of any episode ever shot when it's 113 degrees in Albuquerque. the entire episode somehow took place in the fall in Albuquerque. Everybody's wearing jackets. I'm pretty sure it gets pretty hot there. All right, well, it was great. This was fun to do, and I was incredibly sad at the end. Like, you really definitely, all those people who said they felt some loss that I made fun of, I felt some loss also.
We went on a journey.
Yeah. All right, John, Alonso, Brett, thanks very much.